When it comes to going to the polls for the presidential election, are you one of the undecideds or maybe disillusioned at the lack of variety on the ballot? Or are you part of the estimated 6% of voters who say they will spoil their vote on Friday? That according to the latest opinion poll in the Irish Times. Rory, Declan and Fergus are all still with me. Declan touched on the spoil the vote campaign that I know you're four square behind. We'll come back to that in a moment. But Fergus, are you disillusioned with the choice on the ballot paper?
It's not the choice I would have wished for, but then I wanted to be on the ballot paper, and I tried to be on the ballot paper, and I failed to be on the ballot paper. And so obviously it's not the choice I would have wished for. But at the end of the day, the people of Ireland will choose a president. And the people of Ireland have a very, very good track record in choosing decent presidents. We've never had a bad one. We've never had one that let us down. And I would trust and believe that will apply this time too. You can go back through the history of the office and you can go back through all of the individuals that we've elected. And we always look back at them saying, oh, they wasn't too bad, wasn't that bad. Some outstanding, some maybe a bit less outstanding, all decent, all honourable, all honest, all straightforward. We have never, ever been badly served by a President of Ireland. And I think part of the reason for that is that we choose them. Second part of the reason is they take an oath. And every single one of them, I'm not old enough to remember them all, but I remember some of them and knew some of them reasonably well. Every single one of them takes their oath very seriously. So I don't think we've anything to worry about. I mean, I'd have loved to have been there. I'd love to be the one taking the oath. Ain't ever going to happen for me, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we're going to choose one, and that person is not going to let us down.
Do you think that there is a sizable cohort of people who feel unrepresented,
yes,
who are unrepresented, whatever feeling it that they are
unrepresented? I meet them all the time, on the left and on the right. There's a sizable cohort of people. And there's a reason for that too. That people made their bags of their efforts to get on the ballot paper. They didn't succeed because in some cases they didn't start well enough. In other cases, they didn't have a sufficiently high profile. I wasn't able to persuade my own party to support me. Those kind of things happen in election campaigns. But the last presidential election we had in Ireland had 6 or 7 people on the ballot paper, most of them nominated by local authorities. The previous one had 6 or 7 people nominated by local authorities. And on both of those occasions, well, on the last occasion, I think there was only one party candidate, and the previous one, there were 2 party candidates from Fine Gael and Sinn Féin. So there's a kind of a theory now that the political parties use a kind of blocking mechanism to prevent people getting it. I've never seen evidence of that, never seen evidence. I mean, if you start very late and you throw your hat in the ring at the very last minute, and, you know, there are fences you need to mend with fellow or office members and you fail to do it, you've nobody to blame but yourself.
Is the legitimacy of whoever is ultimately elected president slightly undermined if the turnout is abysmally low and if there's a sizable number of people who spoil their vote?
I wouldn't say that the legitimacy is undermined. I think it'll be a very sad day if we don't see a strong turnout on Friday. I mean, I unexpectedly...
Do you think we will see a strong turnout?
Well, the predictions are that we'll see a lower turnout than the last time. I mean, I've unexpectedly found myself in the same position as Declan and others in that I didn't have a candidate on the ballot paper that I could cast my vote for in the hopes that they would get into the Áras. But, you know, unlike others, I'm not complaining about that. I am certainly not throwing my toys out of the pram and suggesting that people spoil the vote. I'm going to use my opportunity to vote on Friday to ensure that the candidate who most closely represents my views, and neither of them fully represent my views, but the one who most closely represents my views is the one who I will be giving.
And do you think that's the responsible thing that everybody should do?
I would. That's what I would be encouraging people to do. It certainly is. You know, I've met a lot of people. The majority of people I've spoken to about this are disillusioned and are not enamoured with the what's in front of them. But I think, you know, we have to make a decision, and that person will be well supported, and we hope that they will grow into the role.
I think those were your toys she was talking about, Declan, being thrown out of the pram. So why are you encouraging people to spoil the vote?
Well, Kieran, I'm centre-right in my politics. I don't think that's a big secret. There is no one of the centre-right on the ballot. There was a concerted effort to try and put a candidate from the centre-right on the ballot.
Who was that, Declan?
Maria Steen. There were others as well that weren't public. the choice then is to vote for somebody that is opposed to your views politically, opposed to your values, to your principles, to your beliefs, or still participate and respect the struggle that was made to earn everybody the right to cast a ballot, participate in democracy, go to the polling booth, cast your ballot, but cast a spoiled ballot. And the way you do that is put an X beside each of the 3 candidates. There are 3 candidates still on the ballot. Put an X beside them. Do not express a preference. If you want to write the name of somebody or you want to write an issue, you can write it on. But the only thing that will matter is that is counted as a spoiled ballot.
But that's not really participating in democracy.
What
it's
it is,
theatrical abstention.
It's a very intelligent way
God.
of participating in democracy.
God.
Because it gets reactions like this from Fergus and the same reaction from Fianna
The most
Fáil
intelligent
and
thing you
Fine
can do is your vote is give it away.
And they are going to tell you that there is something wrong or it's throwing your toys out of the pram or anything else. What they actually want you to do is stay at home and not vote if you're upset with what's on the ballot.
Not at
Or
all.
I haven't finished. Or vote for somebody who you politically and in terms of your values completely disagree with. This is a curated ballot paper, the kind of thing that we used to see in communist Poland, where you would have candidates, where you would have candidates that you could choose from, but they were all pre-approved.
If Declan claims that the candidate he preferred made a concerted effort to get on the ballot paper, if that was the case, then why isn't she there? There's no mystery around how you get on the ballot paper. There is no mystery around how you get on the ballot paper in this country. You either go through the local authorities or you get the nomination of 20 Oireachtas members.
To stop
that wasn't. I'm surprised if that was a mystery to Maria Steen or others. We certainly did not use the whip, but this is nonsense.
Did.
Why, in the name of God, would you
this
expect?
Isn't even a secret.
Why, in the
it's
name
public.
of God, would you expect a political party to recommend to their members or to their representatives to give a backing to another party or to
every other presidential election, as Fergus said?
I would not expect an independent candidate to give me the nomination to get on the ballot paper. I don't know why they would expect us to give them the nomination.
How did we have 6 candidates on the
there
last
was
time?
no mystery to how you got on that ballot paper, and it is down to
now
poor
we have 2 left
preparation. I am not advocating that people stay at home. No one's scaremongering. If people choose to cast and spoil their ballot, that's their choice. But it achieves nothing. And it does is allow other people who are more excited about the candidates on the paper to choose for us.
Rory.
Yeah, I think this idea of spoiling the vote, like people fought and died for us to have this vote. And to treat it in such a, I always call, juvenile way that you can spoil your vote. Declan, by spoiling their vote, they're essentially voting for the government. That's what a spoiled vote is going to do. It doesn't, and I think
how's that?
to turn out.
Hang on. Ahead in the polls, so I don't understand.
Because a spoiled vote is essentially a vote for Heather Humphreys. That's what it will result in if people do that. Because clearly it's not a vote for someone who is an independent voice. And what is going to happen?
For Heather Humphreys.
Well, I believe spoiling the vote is effectively going to be that. But look, hang on.
A vote against the system as it stands.
No, it's not. If you are against the system, if you want to see a president who will actually challenge this government, you want to see a president who is independent, who has their whole life been independent. It is Catherine Conley. And you talk about hang on a minute. Fianna Fáil were the party who couldn't get their act together in terms of a candidate.
At least Declan can be assured that, given Catherine Conley's record as a barrister, that she will sign into law the legislation
and the
brought
whole
her
point is
by the
that
government when the time comes.
You could shout over me. Catherine Conley is actually a candidate who has created a movement, and this is what Declan is talking about. All these people who are disenfranchised. What I've seen on the doors is Catherine Conley and the movement that is around her engage young people, engage old people, engage people across this country around a sense that we need a new Ireland. We need a better Ireland.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Who do you think Declan should vote for?
Declan can vote whoever he wants.
Who do you think? So Declan looks at the ballot paper, and he feels none of those candidates represent my views. In fact, those candidates hold views that are contrary to my own. Who do you think he should vote? Who do you think he should vote for?
Well, I obviously think Declan should vote for Catherine Connolly. I think she's the best candidate. No, but seriously, that's in terms of who he's going to vote for. I think that Declan clearly faces that challenge himself. But I didn't create that situation. You know, we backed a candidate. The Social Democrats actually came out very early and said we were supporting Catherine Connolly, worked around that to get her support. We started last summer, and I think part of the problem was Declan and Maria Steen left it too late. And why did they leave it too late? I think they were avoiding the publicity. Catherine went out very early and was willing to put herself all through the summer, get the media questions, engage with them, whereas they weren't. I think they were trying to play a clever game and it backfired.
Fergus, you wanted to come in there.
I'd like to make a serious point at the risk of being accused of being patronising again by Declan. Declan isn't being asked to choose between left policies, right policies, centre-right policies. He's being asked to choose between two people. He's being asked to choose between two people. Whichever one of them wins will take an oath in front of the entire nation. And that oath will oblige them, A, to protect the Constitution, and B, to put their abilities at the service and welfare of the Irish people. What Declan has to decide is, who does he trust with that oath? Which of the remaining candidates does he trust with that oath? Their policies don't matter a damn. We all know that. This is not an election about policy. It never has been. It's an election about character, trust, personality. As it happens, I think both of the candidates who have remained and emerged, both have emerged as strong, independent people. Both are women, which I think is an extraordinary plus. And both, I think, can be absolutely trusted when they take that oath. So I don't think there's any dilemma here. There's no difficulty at all. You're not choosing an anti-abortion candidate versus a pro-abortion candidate.
I can't ignore people's track record. I can't ignore that. If I could ignore that, I'd be voting for Jim Gavin or somebody else if I didn't care about people's track record or where they stood politically. Heather Humphreys, just a year ago, was leading the Yes. She was the campaign director for the Yes Yes campaign that thankfully went down in flames.
Out of the two candidates, who do you trust more with that oath of office?
Honestly,
you don't trust either of them.
I see them both.
They're going to take an oath and you don't trust them.
I can hope.
You don't trust them.
I can tell you what, I don't trust one of them more than the other, okay? To me, they're both mediocrities. They do not impress me.
They speak very highly of you, Declan.
I'm sure they don't. And because they are opposed to... They are opposed to me. They are opposed to the beliefs, values and principles of a significant portion of this country. I cannot vote for either of them. I want to cast my ballot. I want to vote against the kind of wokery that has produced the outcomes that we're seeing, that we've seen over the last few days in this country. And my ability to do that is casting a spoiled ballot. I wish I had someone I could vote for. I don't.
I hear what Declan's saying. I absolutely hear what Declan's saying. And I think a number of people listening and watching tonight will feel the same way, that there isn't a person on the ballot paper that they're wildly enthusiastic about. I would agree with Fergus's analysis. These are two respectable individuals who could be trusted to execute the office, and I have no doubt the Irish public will choose the right president.
Declan, for all the talk about wokery and a lack of representation and everything, the reality is Maria Steen might be on the ballot had you started a bit sooner.
I don't think so, because...
Padder Tobin now is behind this campaign as well, and he acknowledges it started too late.
I mean, maybe Padder has a different view, and he's entitled to that view. The shutters were pulled down on the county council route openly by Fine Gael, and
she didn't go there.
And quietly, she did go the county council route. She did. She started there. No. She did that later, but she started with the county councils, and she went round and she met with and spoke with the county councils. Gareth Sheridan was out there a year ago working the county councils. This had been going on for a long time, and the shutters were being pulled down in a way that had never been seen before.
Not true.
And when Maria was looking for the final two nominations, when Michael McDowell blocked her, when she was looking for those final two nominations, Willie O'Dea and other members of Fianna Fáil, just in the interest of democracy, in the same way that, Michael Healy-Rae said he was, and I think Marion Harkin said they were both going to vote for Heather Humphreys, but in the interest of democracy, they would nominate Maria Steen. Willie O'D was talking about doing it. There were calls made from New York. Micheál Martin was over in New York at the UN. Next thing, boom, the shutters came down on that as well.
It's also true to say, and I know you know this because he said it when we were discussing it on the radio, Jerry Crockwell, the independent senator, there would have been hope that he would support the campaign. He said the first time the campaign reached out to him was the Friday before nominations closed, and he got a WhatsApp message from one of Maria Steen's supporters. Well, that doesn't sound like there was lots of work happening in the background weeks and months in advance. That sounds like people scrambling
there was.
around
On that same programme that you were not, it was your programme, Jared said that he wanted to nominate me, which was very, very kind of him. Suffice to say, there had been discussions about somebody.
But despite everything you've just said, the fact is you needed Jerry Crockwell's support, and he got a WhatsApp message a couple of days before nominations closed from somebody in the campaign, not Maria Steen herself. It doesn't. What matters of well organised.
What matters is look. There were supposedly conservative independents like Sean Canny from Tuam, like Noel Grealish from Galway West, who would not entertain anybody of their politics being on the presidential ballot paper.
There are 3 names on the ballot paper, and people will have to choose who they want this coming Friday. There'll be plenty more talk between now and then. Unfortunately, we're going to leave it there.